Yo, good morning. First, I want to let y'all know, man, do not let those mishaps knock you off your track, knock you off your squares, my mom would say, knock you off course. Y'all get the rhetoric. Don't let that happen to you. You understand? Because life going to do that. Life going to do that all the time. Life is going to life. Life going to be lifing on life terms. There's nothing we can do about that. If we complaining about that, then we just don't even want to try. That's all I hear. If I hear people complaining about that, all I'm hearing is I really don't want to try. I'm getting lazy. I'm feeling tired, etc., etc. So if you really trying to get after it, man, we ain't got no time to be putting energy in that. That's what I'm getting at. We ain't got no time to put no energy in that type of thought process, man. It's not worth it. Because while you sitting there saying, woe is me and life ain't fair and, all that other stuff, man, you could be really making some moves and get some things shaking, man. And you'd be surprised at how much you can get done with just effort. No money, just effort. You'd be surprised how much you can get done with just that. But a lot of us don't want to put forth the effort because we feel like the effort can't be done properly without some sort of financial assistance. Or because we lack certain amount of funds, we can't really do certain things. And while there is limitation when you don't have money for stuff, that's not always the case. And even when there are limitations, there are limitations, which means there's things you can do, right? Limitations means there's things you can do. You just can't do a certain amount, or they're just limited, right? That's all that means. So don't take the term limitations or the fact that you have some limitations right now as a reason to not try and put forth the effort. That's not an answer. That won't help you with nothing. That won't help you with a damn thing. So, but there's something I wanted to talk about specifically today, because I've been hearing about this, and I actually had a conversation a few days ago with a young lady about this, which was actually pretty cool. She was talking about communication and how she met a bunch of guys who struggle with communicating, and so it was interesting, right? Because I hear this a lot from women. I don't really hear this a lot from men. I hear this a lot from women. I do hear it from some men. I don't hear it a lot from them. I hear it a lot from women in my personal life and in my clinical space. I've heard a lot in the clinical spaces I was in. So I've heard a lot of it, right? Even in grad school, you would hear it. Here's the interesting part. Some of those same women have admitted to not being the most receptive person. So when the criticism is on them, right? When the criticism is on them and you're expressing that maybe something they did or said bothered you, they have openly admitted that they're not the most receptive to that, right? And I'm glad that some women are willing to admit that. I'm super glad that they're willing to admit that, because right now we're in this internet war of men versus women. And depending on what side of the war you on, depending on what podcast you listen to at that very moment, will often dictate the way you feel, right? Or the way you view it at that particular point in time, right? And I'm gonna be transparent with y'all. Some of y'all don't understand what it means to be a great communicator. Some of y'all don't understand what it means to be a great listener. Like, you may want your partner to open up. You may want them to be honest and transparent with you. But the question you have to ask yourself is, do you create the space for them to do that in? Have you created the space for them to be open and transparent with you? A lot of you have not created that space, so you don't understand that that's why they don't open up to you. I'll give you an example of something. There was a young lady I was talking to. It was an effed up situation in general, because initially she didn't want to talk to me because she said I was too short. So, whatever. But I can give you the details of that story later, like that part of it. But let's get to the actual meat and potatoes, right? Because we ain't got a lot of time today. At least for me to shoot this video, this little vlog. So, we were talking. We started talking. This is after the fact. We started talking after the fact. And she wanted me to. I went to her house. I hung out with her at her house maybe twice. I think it was twice, right? It was twice. And she said, look, but if we don't go any further, you got to take me out on a date. I said, cool. I liked her. So I'm like, yeah, let's do that. I can take you out on a date. I'm good with that. So when can I take you out on a date? This is when it got really interesting. In between the time that I actually got to take her on a date, she had went to several concerts. She had flown on planes. She had did a whole lot of things during that time span. And she would tell me, I don't have no time. I need someone to watch my daughter. She had a young daughter, or has a young daughter. And so after a while, this is going on for like months, bro. This is like 7-8 months of this. I start communicating less. I stopped texting, I stopped calling, I just like start falling back. And then, at one point, I'm not gonna lie, I stopped following her on Instagram. I took her off my page, I stopped following her or whatever. And when you stop following, you have the choice to make sure they unfollow you too. So I did that. My lips ain't dry, is it? Okay, cool. So I make sure I had to do that quick check, because some of y'all be looking crazy, lips be chapped in the motherfucker just talking. So anyway, she hits me up one day like, hey, I haven't seen you on Instagram or whatever, and you've been distant, I said, look, I ain't about to be dealing with no one that don't want to deal with me. So, because to me, if you tell me you want to go on a date, but every time I say, hey, let's go here, let's go there, where's your favorite restaurant? Oh, we can go here whenever, next week. And you're like, I need to find someone to watch my daughter, but you're flying to concerts and your daughter ain't going there, then obviously I'm not what you're looking for. I'm not the priority. So I severed it at that moment. Then we reconnected later, and I said, do you even know why I felt the way I felt? And she's like, no, you never told me. I said, because you told me to take you on a date, but never gave me an opportunity to take you on that date. And she said, oh my God, you're upset about that? That's crazy. You've been to my house, haven't you? I'm like, it's not about the date. It's about you giving me a standard that you're not even allowing me to reach. Like you gave me pretty much like, if we're gonna be something more than this, then just in the talking stage, we have to go on a date. But over the course of 8-9 months, you never gave me the chance to take you on a date. It's the principle in it. She didn't hear none of that. She blew up on the phone. I don't want to talk about this, blah, blah, blah. I hung up the phone. Now, this particular woman would definitely say, I want a man to communicate. I just communicated. Like I just did, right? So, and obviously we haven't spoken since then. This is some time ago. But my point is, some people want you to communicate and they don't know how to be receptive to the communication, especially if they're the reason that the communication may be struggling or something's wrong. So, most people don't know what that entails. They say, I want my partner to communicate, or want them to talk, and most people do not know what that entails. Believe it or not, being a good communicator is a skill. It's literally a skill. And so if you don't practice the skill, you don't have the skill. That's simple as that. If you don't practice it, you're not going to have it. And a lot of us don't understand that. We think that being a good communicator or a good listener is just something you do. Some of us do. Some of us are probably naturally better than others, like other things. But again, it's a skill, and you have to work the skill. So if you're asking your partner to be a great communicator or communicate more, first you got to ask yourself, before you fix your lips to say it, am I giving him or her a space to do it at? Like every 3 words, I'm cutting them off. Am I doing that? Am I always interrupting them? Then I'm not creating that space that I asked them to be in, right? And so that's the question I always say. I would say to anyone who says, my girlfriend, my wife, my boyfriend, whatever, don't talk to me. I ask them, do you create the space? Have you created the space? And have you let it be like, and here's the thing, it's not a monolith where it's like, I'm gonna create the space and they're gonna step into it. Maybe they're just not the kind of person, right? Maybe they're just not the kind of person. The point is to create the space so that if they ever want to step into it, they can, right? And that's all it's about, man. Communication goes a long way in every field, in every facet, man. Part of the reason why some of you guys like me is because you believe I communicate well, right? Part of the reason why you guys like your favorite artists, or why some of y'all might like my music, is because I communicate it well. I say it well. My diction is good. My wordplay, whatever. It's communication. Communication is a skill. And if you are on the camera a lot talking, if you talk trash in football like I do, if you're an artist like I am, whatever the case is, then you probably communicate a lot. And so you have time to work on it. But we have to also work on the listening aspect, and that's just learning to sit down and shut up and say the moment ain't about me, it's about him or him, her, whomever, to communicate their stuff. So I've seen this a lot, and it was so dope to see women say, yeah, I don't always provide a great safe space for them. It was dope to see that some women were very accountable for that. Like, that was dope. That was super dope, because it was like, oh yeah, I never thought of it that way. I never recognized that I made things so hard for him during that time span. So it was dope. It was super dope to see, bro. And I was happy to be a part of it. Like, damn. Like, okay, cool. So I mean, but at the end of the day, man, bottom line, I said a lot of things during this vlog. Bottom line is this. Right? This is the bottom line of it all. When you ask for something, when you want to be something, you got to find out what it entails. Before you even find out what it entails, understand that it's going to entail a lot. Whatever it is you want to do. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you want to be the best painter. I don't care if you want to do ballet. I don't give a fuck what you want to do. Whatever you want to do and be great at will entail a lot. There's a lot behind the scenes. Like, there's a lot behind the scenes. Like, when I started writing music, I was 9 years old. So I had a long time to suck before y'all got me now. Had a good bit of time I could just suck freely. I didn't have to be that good. I was just learning it. So when you jumping into the rap game today and you never rapped before, you're probably going to suck. It's just what it is. So you gotta keep doing that. You gotta keep working at it and understand it's gonna take time. Nothing great really happened overnight. Nothing great happens overnight. And if something great did happen overnight, is because there were 1,000 nights before it that you put the work in for. Like, so that's the net of it all. Is that it's important to understand that you have to be willing to put the time in. Anything that you want that's worthwhile will have a lot of intricate details underneath that you're going to have to fix, work, and cultivate on. Right? It's just what it has to be. So, I could talk until I'm blue in the face. I could. But let me know. First of all, let me know if y'all like these daily vlogs. If y'all like them, I can do them more often. Second, more importantly, I think this is super important. Second and more importantly, check out Love Stories, man. Love Stories is out. It's out, man. It's out now. It just came out last night on all platforms. So it's out everywhere. Everywhere you can look and turn and smell, Jack Jackson Jr. Love Stories is out. So please go check that out. I'm actually going to have a link to it in this description. I'll have a link to it for the DSP. You can get it anywhere. And I'm also going to have it, it's going to be playing, it's playing in the background now softly. So you can hear it a little bit. So, but I appreciate y'all. Stay hungry, stay humble, and get after it. And when I say stay humble, that don't mean deny your accolades and deny what you can do. That means don't get too far ahead of yourself, but don't think that you're too good to put the groundwork in. I'm out.